Okay, we're rolling.
I have to hit that. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting of the Ledger Community Relations Committee to order. It is 6:33, and we are meeting in person at the Town Hall Annex and hybrid via Zoom, and that information was posted on the website for people to join. And whoops, let's get back to my thing here. All right, taking roll call. Oh, here, 1 second, I just lost my screen.
I did too.
You did too?
Yep.
Yeah, that was weird.
And Al was still on. That's good.
Okay, we're just learning the okay, here we go. Let me do that again. All right, perfect. All right, roll call. Let's see who's on with us. Councilor Psalms is here in person. Councilor Marshall, you're here, right? Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, I'm here.
I see you. And I can't see that clear. Councilor Rodriguez is with us here in person. Okay, 2 for guests, and any other councilors here?
Chief Rich. did you
Chief
say
Rich
him?
is here. Hey,
Uh,
Chief.
Mary.
And Councilor McGrattan is here. I don't know why my screen didn't open up, but all right. I'd like to start with citizen comments. Does anybody have anything they'd like to bring up? Hearing none, I'm going to move to informational items. I asked Police Chief Rich if he would mind joining us and tonight to get any updates or informational that might be relevant to the Community Relations Committee. I appreciate you taking your time, sir. The floor is yours.
No problem. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And again, I kind of make it brief. We've talked about a few different ideas conceptually for some community-related meetings and interactions with the police department going forward. So I wanted to again just reiterate my support for those initiatives. And one of the major things that's happened within the department and has happened right now is we've implemented our body worn camera program as of April 15th. So it's just 5 days old. Officers had to have reviewed and signed off on the policy or asked any pertinent questions and then signed off on the policy by April 15th. So they actually went into use before that for the officers that decided to implement early and sign off on the policy early. And as of now, we're finding that the quality of the audio and the video is very good. That they're serving the purpose for what they're intended. We've used them once in the service of a search warrant, which is part of our policy and in alignment with our policy, and then various interactions. We're having additional equipment installed in our vehicles as part of the program, which will automatically sync the camera on the officer's body with the camera that's in the vehicle, and basically match the two videos in space and time. So the system recognizes that they're recording the same event from different perspectives. And we've run into a couple of minor issues with our server, uploading to our server that we've been able to resolve with the vendor right off the bat. So I think we're just working out some bugs early on in the program. But as of now, the program is working as intended. And I think it's going to be a tremendous value to the department for on many different levels, but it's also a tool for us to be transparent with the community and have our interactions, our law enforcement related interactions recorded and all those are in accordance with our policy, which is based on the statewide policy. So we're ahead of deadline as it relates to the police accountability bill, which is June 30th of this year. And we had talked conceptually about the possibility of doing some kind of a community presentation, maybe in this forum, as about the program, and kind of show what it looks like live, and then maybe be able to give some examples of what the video looks like in audio and video quality, so the community could be notified of this aspect of our work, and using them also for the benefit of the courts and evidentiary matters. So that's one very big thing that's been happening. In addition, we've continued our work with the Ledger Prevention Coalition. I know we sat in on a meeting with the mayor, and I should say the mayor sat in on a meeting recently, and we're having a prescription drug take back event at the department on April 30th. That's Saturday, and that's part of a national DEA program, and we'll be participating. That's 10 to 2 at the department in partnership with the Ledger Prevention Coalition, and we will be taking back unused prescription medication. The limitations are we don't take liquids, or obviously illicit drugs are out of bounds, and sharps such as needles, or like those are restricted from the program. But we've been doing that for a number of years, again in partnership with the Prevention Coalition, and there's talk of expanding that to even possibly hold an event at our CVS in Gales Ferry. They're a very, very supportive partner of prevention. So in addition, obviously one of the programs that we participate in every year is the Civics in Action program. I saw Councilor Psalms there and others, but we make ourselves available to the sophomore class and for their civics projects, and we always have a spirited and lively discussion with the students who are trying to prepare their projects for Mr. Galante's class. So those are the things that I can report from the top of my head from our last meeting and our last discussion. But again, our offer stands for both a warm weather community event that's more of a meet and greet with some vehicles and equipment and that kind of thing, and also a special presentation on the body worn camera program, which I think will be of benefit to all of us. And any questions, I'm happy to answer.
What kind of questions were the students asking you at the Civics in Action Day?
There was a lot of concern for animal rights. And those were one of the common themes was animal rights. There was a lot of mental health questions, and one particular student about the opioid crisis and addiction in general was something that she was working on with her project, and there was one young man who was particularly interested in police conduct and or misconduct, and was actually asking about what we do in our department to prevent or mitigate some of the things that we've been seeing on the national level. He was very curious and also complimentary of interactions that he's been familiar with our police department. So that was refreshing. I didn't get, as has happened in previous years, I didn't get a lot of questions or any questions really about police use of force. That had been a theme in past years. This year I didn't have anyone bring that up, but it seemed like there was a lot of concern for mental health and also the mental health of our first responders, which I thought was an interesting conversation. It's something I'm very much involved in and passionate about. And those were the common themes that I noted. And I'm not sure what you got as counselors, but I thought it was a great discussion as it is every year. I was happy to be back in
those
person.
questions also.
Mm.
And especially the mental health for the first responders.
Yeah.
And mental health. But thank you. I'm glad that those questions were brought to you, especially about the opioid crisis and addiction.
And also, it's an interest of mine. Officer safety and wellness has always been an interest of mine, but I think it also concentrating on those aspects of managing the challenges of our work. My belief is that when we make those a priority, that we actually put a more well balanced and more well individual out there into the community to serve. And that's one of the so it's I think it has a collateral effect of making sure that our officers are taken care of, and their mental health is always taken into consideration. And to that end, we also are we're all required, all police officers in Connecticut and police departments are required to offer mental health wellness checks every 5 years for each individual officer. And the law allows for us to break that down into 20% of the department per year and to do it annually. I appreciate it, and we had some discussion about it during the budget process with Councilor Soms and the Finance Committee. And we have our provider coming on site next week to actually start that process, and that's a new process for us that's just been funded for this particular fiscal year, and then we'll be going forward for every year. So again, just a concentration on wellness for everyone who's serving, and I think it's a benefit to our entire community when we do that.
Great.
Can you bear with me one more second? Can I ask one more question of
Sure.
Chief Rick? So a question that a student asked, she's a volunteer firefighter. So there's been a lot of really bad car accidents. What happens if there's something so traumatic that a police officer witnesses? Is there any help for them immediately after the crisis is over?
Yes. So one that you're referring to in particular that I can think of most recently, one of the first things we do, the supervisor on scene at the end when things are clearing, obviously when officers are engaged in their duties, they're taking statements or they're doing other investigative work. We rarely see signs of distress during that time. It's usually when you have time to stop and process that you can run into some issues. So in the aftermath of the particular crash I'm talking about that happened on Route 117, I know the fire departments held a critical incident stress debrief, as did we. During ours, we actually asked Town of Groton Police and the Waterford Police to bring their service dogs. They each have a service dog program, and so they were also present at our debrief. And we go over the incident in detail. Everyone who responded and had a role participates, and we advise the participants at the end about some of the signs and symptoms of post-traumatic stress and what to kind of be on the watch for. And we make it perfectly clear that we take those things seriously, and that we want to make sure that all of our people are well, and we encourage officers to come forward if they are experiencing things like sleeplessness, nightmares, continued intrusive thoughts about the incident. And we happy to say that we have resources kind of on standby from years of doing this work that can help them immediately. And the goal is obviously is to intervene early. And it's been my experience in this work that we want to get at it before it becomes a real problem and the officer is no longer able to perform their duties, which I've seen several times in the course of my career, not here at Ledyard, but in other places. And we want to get on it early and get them the help that they need, and they can continue to work all throughout. And I think that's the goal. And so that's how we approach it.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for the chief?
Appreciate all you do, chief, and the department.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, chief, and thank you for taking some time tonight to speak on some of this and giving us an update.
I'm going to hang out for the rest of the meeting, and if I'm needed, I'll be here.
Awesome,
Cool.
we might. I'm going to move on to review and approval of the prior minutes. I have a motion to approve the regular minutes of, can I do these both in one? Or should I do them separate?
Yeah, you can do them both at once.
So I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the regular minutes of the Community Relations Committee for March 16th, 2022, and the Community Relations Committee, April 11th, information forum at the Parks and Recreation members.
So moved, Counselor Soms.
Second, Councilor Paul, and
So
discussion.
you,
Oh, sorry, Gary, I was on mute.
sorry,
easy.
take it back, never mind. I got confused. You read the
Yes.
motion and I said so never mind.
Discussion.
Done.
Um, Clarification.
Mhm.
On Roman numeral 6, number 6, second dot. Actually, I was the one who made the comment about the COVID-19 pandemic gathering restrictions. That the town council and mayor were not invited this past year for the Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation swearing in ceremony. And Councilor Psalms mentioned the fourth dot, having some informal activities between the Community Relations Committee and some members of tribal council over a meal. Do you remember that, Bill?
I'm looking, still trying to catch up.
Okay, yeah, I just found it here too.
I take your word for it, Naomi.
So what was the first one you said?
Roman numeral 6, number 6, the second dot, bullet dot.
Okay,
It should be town council attending the MPTN council swearing in ceremony. Councilor Rodriguez, not Psalms.
okay,
And then bullet number 4, it should be Councilor Psalms.
oh, okay, I see what you're saying, so they're backwards for the most part. The 2 should be you, and then 4 should be
Councilor Psalms. Yeah.
Council Psalms.
And that's it.
Gotcha. Roxanne, did you get that?
Yes, I did.
Thank you.
Okay, and then any other discussion on either of these?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, all in favor of with the changes?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi, Counselor Soms.
Okay, motion carries. Moving on to old business. Discussion regarding Black History Month. As everyone, I think, is aware of, we handed out the awards at the town council meeting last Wednesday. And which was really, really awesome. Again, I want to thank Councilor Rodriguez for all her work, and just everybody. Obviously I read a letter at the time. It really did move me. I thought it was great what these kids did, and seeing their expressions both in their essays and you know, in the drawings themselves, was just really awesome. And it was really, really neat to do. And it was great to have them in the council chambers on Wednesday too, to come in and you know, be recognized in front of the council and having you know, Chief Rich there in place of Sergeant McKinney. That was awesome. Any other just, you know, comments on that?
I was really moved by the number of attendees, the fact that their families came, and just, you know, seeing the kids and some of their work. And your letter, as I said that night, would really move me. You wrote and spoke beautifully, and you said so much that all true. So thank you.
I would like to bring up that moving forward with this, you know, obviously we'd like to continue this. You know, I put some thought into some things, and it's very early right now. And the only thing I'd like to say is this is something I'd like to really start engaging in, maybe late fall.
Yeah.
You know, I'm thinking like really starting to get these ideas over the summer, so that may, like, say October, November. The idea would be that we can push this into a January type of a thing.
Yeah.
What we're going to do
Right,
to
right.
get things going, so that like mid-February we
Do the
can,
awards.
right, yeah,
Yeah,
so you're
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of in the month, and
Yeah.
we just didn't have the time, you know, this year.
Now we know the time frame.
Right, so,
Another idea I have moving forward is to get some grant funding.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, for next year, the grant funding deadlines are March of this year,
oh, really?
or April 5th through April 29th. And Councillor Psalm's letter about the process of grant funding is we have to go through community relations and get their approval, and then finance committee, and then town council, and then town council will give the approval for the mayor to move forward with this grant. The mayor signs all the grants. So we don't have the time to do the April 29th Community Foundation grant proposal. So good thing to know for next year, and we should be ready for that. I was looking at the Community Foundation grant, and it offers money from $500 to $20,000. The mayor and I were thinking about maybe 5,500. So unable to do that this year, but I will keep looking, and hopefully we can apply next year.
So I just want to thank Councilor Rodriguez for the initiative on Black History Month, and also for her continued enthusiasm for this kind of work. On this, on a number of other items too. And I totally agree, getting started this fall so that we can actually have the competition in January. Time to apply for the grant and have some money and maybe some other services too, by the time the month of February rolls around. So really great work.
Yep, and we'll take this time to kind of form some ideas, you know, in the meantime, to bring as we start getting this thing rolling. So, so again, it was great, and good job to everyone all the way around, and that to me is community. So that's really awesome, and to be part of that. So we're going to keep that moving on the agenda. Any other comments or anything on this?
Nope.
Okay. We're going to move on to number 2, discussion and possible action to develop a community relations commission statement. Anybody, I know I've read this a few times. I'll hold on my comments. Does anybody else like to comment on the draft for this mission statement?
Actually, this is really good for a grant.
It would be.
When I read it, I
Yeah.
thought, oh.
So this is something that the old committee started. And we put some ideas and thoughts together, and then Roxanne was very helpful in providing the bullet points and some of the wording, the wording in the bullet points and the mission. And, it's just my suggestion of, my thoughts on how we might say this. And, if you guys wanted to take it and edit it and share it back, we're gonna be able to move on something soon.
Yeah. I did read it and, I've been kind of looking at it and I'm just giving you my feedback if I can. I've been reading this over again. I want to give it the due diligence. I've also looked and listened in on some of the older committee things and just trying to, piece it all together, as we're moving forward as well. And I would like to, I like it a lot. I would like to be able to digest more of it and maybe, like you said, maybe throw a couple ideas out and edit back and forth. That would be my take on that. I don't know if anybody else has something they like to throw in there.
I like it as written, Gary.
Okay.
I would like extra time to look it over too.
Yeah. And that, that's just me. I would just like to be able to have that opportunity to
Yeah, this shouldn't be done quickly. As a
No.
matter of fact, we took way too much time in the last.
yeah, and I don't want to take to the end of
Yeah,
the term, but I
But this
also,
isn't something you just read and say, okay.
right, and that's kind of where I'm at,
Yeah.
and I think that I think it encompasses a lot of what this committee is about and what this mission is, but I want to make sure that we're not leaving something out, that there's a better way or I don't know, I would just like to digest it and let's work on that and make sure that we're all on the same page with that, I guess is the best way to say that.
Sounds good.
So if there's no other comments or questions on that, we're going to move on to item number 3, which is continued discussion and possible action. Draft a schedule for public information forums to present to residents the types of services the town offers, how to access services, and the authority residents should direct concerns regarding services. I think my answer a little. So this would be some of our events that we're trying to put together, and the April 30th was that was changed. That should actually say March 14th. May 14th, excuse me. Thank you.
I thought it was like coffee and donuts.
Yeah, well, this I think was the original letter, but Roxanne, right? It was May 14th.
I have it as May 7th.
Right.
14.
No, it was
Really?
it was moved to 14th.
I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah, the words.
Oh, well, then maybe we should find another day then.
Oh, no, if you guys already picked the date, I'm out of town that weekend, so
Yeah, she sent an email to everyone
I
asking.
I missed it.
And
Sorry.
the time was 10 to 12.
Right, yeah, and the time would have been was moved to 10 to 12. That's correct.
Gary?
Yes, sir. Councilor Marshall.
We need to find a way to really advertise this good. We seem to be having a difficult time, and we have historically about advertising these town events. As a result, we get low turnout. So we really need to put some thought into how we're going to spread the word and advertise this.
Yeah, I agree with you there. If I'm allowed to say this, it kind of goes back to the mission statement. I think it's important, for the Community Relations Committee. I think it's, for it to be a good asset to the town, I would encourage people to come out and meet the people that are there to that are making policy, they're voting, doing these things and advocating, right? So I would love to see a nice turnout on that, and have people come out as an informal setting and learn about the different things that the council does and is charged with and what the committees do, all the way around and meet the people that are
This one sounds like fun, and it's at a great venue, so
Yes, the Nathan Lester House.
Yeah.
Um,
If I've learned anything on social media and events, if you see what the farmer's market does and what the food pantry does, constant flow of social media
Yeah.
posts and events and pictures. We did one event we posted one event, actually the town did, and then we all shared it.
Mhm.
And
Oh, I did try a couple times on the phone.
yeah, well, it was the same event though. and-
Right,
And
right.
what the food pantry and the farmer's market does, I mean, it is just a constant barrage.
Yeah,
And you have to break through that clutter. They do. I don't mean you have to break through their clutter, but there's so much stuff going on the internet, especially on Facebook and social media, that it's just got to be a constant barrage to get interest. But this one, I think, given the venue and the time of year, and it should be fun. So I'm hopeful we'll get more people.
right. I mean,
Can someone do a Facebook event?
yeah, well,
That's what we did.
Yeah.
So Regina did one for the one at Parks and Rec.
Mhm.
And then the committee members shared it on our own Facebook pages and then posted it in things like the community forum and other things. Still, nobody
There was
came.
also a public announcement in the Thames River Times.
correct. Yes, we even put it in the things every
Yeah.
times. Yeah, and I did see it in there, and it wasn't real. I mean, it wasn't hidden. I mean, I looked for it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't
Yeah.
like, where is it? It was right there.
Yeah.
Which was great. So,
But there's a lot going on in people's lives, so.
sure. But yeah, we'll do our best to try to promote this and get people to come out. So yeah, so that would say, obviously, May 14th, and it was coffee and donuts. And we were gonna bring that.
Yeah,
So
So you're not gonna be here, Bill.
I'm out of town the whole weekend. I can't go. It's too
I
bad.
scheduled my vacation after this event.
good job.
That goes with the territory.
So the other thing on here, was the again, trying to work in with the body worn cameras for the police department, which is one that I'd like to start talking about too, and what everyone feels about maybe a good time might be for that. Is that because there's two events that we want to hold, and Chief kind of mentioned that too. One was kind of an informal that we want to do, and I wanted to bring this up too. It's hard to know where to bring these things up, but speaking of community relations, there's a lot, there's a lot in town, and I think the police department plays a big role in this, and in having this informal meeting where they can kind of get an idea of what our police force is and what it does, and Chief, this is kind of, I think I said this before, things like mental health, that I've heard being brought up, is important too. And I think sometimes, we as a, we as people sometimes forget that, we can tend to look over sometimes mental health issues, I think sometimes, and to be able to, that's a big part too, I think, working with not just like the town hall, like we did with the TVCCA and things like that, but with the police department too, to know that there is help available, and we are a community. So that event I'm really looking forward to, and I want to, I was hoping that, and my idea would be to concentrate that on kind of, look, the police department is more than just pulling over people.
Yep.
We are part of the community, and that's kind of where I was kind of going with that. And I don't know which should be done first or second, or what you guys' ideas. I know there's a lot going on, but
Didn't Chief Rich mention an event called Walk with the Cop?
yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Bill, if we could do this or not. Could we have like a fundraiser event called, like a walkathon with the police?
Mhm.
Say like maybe Ledger High School, the track.
Mhm.
And then we could fundraise and half the proceeds go to the police department, the other half to community relations. Is that doable?
So with the police department, if you did it to the police union, they have a fund for spouses in the event of an officer's death. And they fundraise on a regular basis, so we could fundraise for the police department union. I don't know if we could fundraise for community relations because we're elected officials.
Um,
That might look kind of funny. Roxanne would know better than I do, but I don't think we can fundraise for our own committee.
Okay,
I think it's a little different than the beautification committee, which fundraises for beautification.
The
You know,
beautification is a non-budgeted committee of the town. So it has no budget. And the ordinance that establishes them says that they can fundraise and that they can use monies for their programs. And there's also a couple other resolutions or ordinances that do the same type of thing. But the town council does not have anything that says they can do that. So if you wanted to have like a fund to benefit, the ledger prevention thing or, another program, you could do
That's
that.
where I was kind of thinking, and especially if you tie it into something like that.
Yeah, you've got two fire companies, you've got a police department, all three of them fundraise. So you could do it for them, you could do for the food pantry, LPC, probably a bunch of other things too.
but I like the idea, walk with the cop and
Yeah.
then a walkathon.
Yeah, so maybe just do it for the Ledyard Police Union.
Yeah.
Like kind of like Relay for Life,
Mhm.
do a lap. Of course, the poor cops gotta walk along too, but.
Right.
How many can we get? Or,
Well, right, so that's, right, and that's, the idea too is to, bring, I think the chief was talking about bringing up, a couple cars and some stuff
Yeah.
too, so that people, whether it's walking or just hanging, kind of like a, like what we're gonna do for the meet and greet is kind of what I envision, where, maybe the chief could, give, a little presentation and be able to say, hey, this is what we do and we're more than this. And
Right.
these are the things, this way you're bringing up some points to talk about.
Yep.
Right, and to engage and just spend a little time for people to come out and say, we're gonna be here, let's, to talk and just have some, answer some questions. We're not, here to fix, we're here to just listen and get to know you, and we're, part of the community.
Gary, can I
So-
just interject? Sorry.
No, go ahead, Chief.
We've made presentations to the Rotary and the Senior Center in the past about some of the non-traditional things that the department does in the interest of solving problems outside of the enforcement arena. And one of them is our participation in the Juvenile Review Board in town. We have a crisis intervention program where we have a clinician from the Southeastern Mental Health Authority that comes and rides with our officers on Friday mornings when they have availability. We have a special needs registry where people who have either cognitive issues, dementia, Alzheimer's, memory loss, those kind of things, could be traumatic brain injury. We can take information on those people at the behest of their family members and then enter it into our system. So if we end up with a call where they're either lost, wandering, something like that is going on, we have the immediate information at our fingertips in the cars for police officers, including picture of the person, their caretaker, any medications, a vehicle that may be available to them, all that stuff we have stored in advance just in case the situation happens. And then we also, recently worked with the Rotary, Officer Matt Andrade spearheaded up a grant program funded by the Rotary, and we purchased what they're called Carter kits, and they're a sensory kit to intervene with someone on the autism spectrum who may be having some type of an issue overload, an episode, and the kits were invented actually by a detective in a police department out in the Midwest who has an autistic child. So we actually worked with the Rotary, and they funded the kits, and we have one in each of our vehicles, and Matt reserved one for each of the fire companies as well. So there's all kinds of stuff that's happening that maybe people don't know about, and I think it's a worthwhile conversation when we're having a discussion about, it's not just all enforcement, as much as we have that responsibility, and our responsibilities for community safety, traffic safety, crime prevention. We also have a bunch of education things that we do, and I think that's some of the things that I would want to highlight in the discussion with the community. There's just so much going on that we offer. That's I know Ms. Councilman Grattan refers to it as kind of non-traditional, and we've made presentations to the Rotary about it. So I was just throwing those things out there as ideas, as it relates to the potential for a presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Chief. Yeah, that's exactly what I was kind of hoping for. It does, because now you're engaging on some other. I mean, we know what their primary work is, and I think people forget, they don't understand or realize, wow, what goes on, and what they do in their training and things like that. And I think having some discussion on that and being able to bring that up to people is going to spark other conversations like, oh, really? I didn't know that. And so that afterwards, right, people would come up and like Chief Rich said, geez, I didn't know that you could register, my parent has dementia, or whatever. And can I do it? Yes, you can. I never knew that, so these are the type of things I agree with the chief that would be great talking points to kind of show just how the police, intertwine with this community on more levels than people even realize,
So here's maybe a venue to do that. Roxanne just posted in the chat. What about having some things on the town green, lower or upper, at the same time as a farmer's market, while there are a lot of people out there with high visibility?
Oh, that's
I
actually
like
really
that.
good.
Yeah.
Very good idea.
Yeah. What do you think, Chief?
I think a good idea
Yeah.
too would be to, Chief, to bring the Carter kit, because it's something you can see, you can touch, and I think people can appreciate, what it's used for and how it does help the people on the autism spectrum. That is good because you can see something.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's a great point, Mary.
Oh,
The Carter kit.
Yeah, and just as far as the farmers market, we are invited every year. It's usually later on in the season. I think the organization calls it the Community Heroes type of day. So we do attend, and we have done numerous things in the past, including brought other departments in who have like a canine program for a demonstration. That's always a big hit with kids and families. So there's all kinds of things that we have potential to do, and I agree. I think the farmers market in Ledger is a really special venue. It's really it's so well attended, and I think it's a great opportunity to engage.
So the new parklet that's still under construction on the lower fairgrounds, just off of the pole barn. Great place to just, if one table was police department and people just circulating around, chatting, casual conversation. You could do that too on a regular basis, or not. The upper green is a better venue for a demonstration, cruisers. I don't think we can drive on the green yet, but we can find a way to, do something up there. I think would be great. So
I like that idea.
Yeah. What kind of a timeline? What would work for something like that.
Maybe you could also piggyback on some of the other things, like I know Rotary has like an antique car show at the town summer. I mean, if you have something at, that same day in a close proximity, whatever presentations, not just the police, but other groups that you want to sort of showcase, those types of things when a lot of people are going to be out and about in town for something special, especially there at the town green, like Bill says, you have the upper, you've got the lower, if people see that there's other activities going on, they'll go over and check them out.
They usually wander around looking for something to do, because, they've got a meal or they got a lemonade or something,
Right.
and they're just strolling around. It's, the people are socializing, they're seeing each other. It's that parklet's gonna be great for that.
Yeah.
I think this is an excellent idea to piggyback on another event, because we might have difficulty getting people to come out just for this. But if they're already out at
Yeah.
the market or something else, it might be a better turnout for us.
Can I also just interject one more thing? We've been asked to participate in Regatta Day at the Sweet Hill Farm by the Economic Development Commission. So they're on June 11th. They're having a 4-hour event there at Pop's Ice Cream and Sweet Hill Farm, and we're going to have a vehicle out there with an officer with a vehicle, and they're also asked the fire departments. And we've done that also in the past with in partnership with Pops, usually later in the summer, but they're having an event for Regatta Day on June 11th, and we will be there, and as well the fire companies in attendance as well with vehicles. So just another one to point out.
Good idea.
Yeah, I definitely think piggybacking off of something, or like you said, down there, the new pavilion would be really neat too.
Yeah, well, that's Roxanne's idea. She always has the good ideas.
Yeah, that's thank you, Roxanne. That's a really great idea. So why don't we continue this discussion? We'll kind of bring that to the next meeting, and we'll get some
Yep.
ideas, and start talking and see what we might be able to do. I mean, it doesn't have to be done either.
Yeah.
The farmers market goes right till what is that in?
Sometimes October.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
it goes right on, so there's nothing that says that we can't, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Push that into a little bit later, especially with a very busy, May, Regatta Day is June,
Right.
and you don't want to fatigue, in there either,
You don't want to be too hot either.
right?
You don't
Right.
want a really hot day, chance of thunderstorms.
Sure. Could be a late August event, could be a September event,
September, October, I think.
yeah,
Do you want me to reach out to the farmer's market and see if they have a date?
that wouldn't be a bad
Yeah.
idea, yeah.
Actually, I support the farmer's market. I could talk to Lori.
Okay,
Awesome. Thank you, Roxanne. And as far as the body worn cameras, maybe that's something that we kind of, do a little more sooner,
Yeah.
as an informational, like this, or like we did with the Parks and Rec, might be a good thing to maybe hold.
Right.
We can even do that if we're gonna do that indoors. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Well, I'm thinking, what would be a good venue for that? The weather is getting nice. But the lower fairgrounds, it could, if you had to go indoors, you could go on under the, either the Holdridge Pavilion or the pole barn in nice weather. I think the Nathan Lester House, I mean, it's such a great place to do things.
That's true.
It's so pleasant
even
there.
if they had an open house, they get a lot of people for their open houses.
Yeah,
If we can find out when they're going to have an open house.
Yeah.
And do it in conjunction with that, there's plenty of space to
yeah.
have some cruisers.
And they have baby goats. That brings people in.
This is just a suggestion, but maybe what we need to do is we need to get a list of the other types of events that are going on in town. And then,
Yeah.
as you all know, try and target those to piggyback on. Like, for instance, in the fall, Parks and Rec does that Color Me Something Day or whatever, or Children's Day. So, you know, if you wanted to do the police or the fire or some
think that
other
would
group
be-
that you
Be helpful for any.
list of all of those other events, then maybe we could reach out to them and say,
That's a
gee,
good
would you
idea.
mind if communications also supported such and such of a presentation, you know, within that same vicinity, not as part of their event, because you don't want to intrude on that, but be within a close proximity, whether it's at Blonders Park or Holders Pavilion or the Nathan Lester House. You know, like they do the Christmas Yuletide thing at the Nathan Lester House. If people go there all the time for that, you know, that might be another opportunity. So maybe we should try and get a list of what all of those things might be throughout the year.
You know, we just missed that would have been perfect was the Easter egg hunt.
Yeah,
That happens, it's over in a flash
Yeah.
and people are hanging around like, okay, I came out here and they're
Yeah.
looking for other things.
and they
to
had a
do.
lot of, Scott's, they had a really nice
Yeah.
turnout this year,
And-
you know, from
And
the
you have,
COVID years.
you got
It
the
was-
right audience.
yeah.
I mean, those little kids, they, you know, a cruiser?
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
you know, you could use the light parade, you could use, you know, it slipped my mind. Oh, the trunk or treat, you could
Treat.
use, I mean, there's some events that go on throughout the year. If we got a list and tried to target what type of group would sort of be good to go with that type of event, then, you know, that might
Is
be a
that-
good way to set up a schedule.
Is that something you'd want to put together, Roxanne, or could?
Sure, I can reach out, because I know a lot of them off the top of my head. I could just
Yeah, right.
see if they have.
right.
We have the Ledyard Lions with the Memorial Day Parade.
So the
Well, you guys-
Memorial Day parade, huh? Roxanne?
You guys are participating, well, the town council's participating in the parade, so,
And the parade, so the
and
The
so
DTC had a
so-
barbecue at the parade and
Mhm.
it was, you know, people get their special spot along 117 or Colonel Ledyard Highway and they sit in
They
their
sit there.
chairs,
Yeah.
they don't move. So that's probably not the best, because, you know, you're on the town green, nobody even sees you from there.
Right.
Um,
Right.
And I think
Plus so
the
it's
car
kinda hard to
crews
get.
might be a challenge because they usually run out of space with cars. But the parklet would be available.
Yeah.
So cruiser might be an issue. Oh, you know what, what's one more car? You know, that might fit in. Yeah, cruiser
Or-
down by the parklet in the lineup.
Even the town-wide yard sale, you know, might be a good day to have something on the town green.
Yeah.
People are driving around and you put some balloons out there and, hey, we're doing something over here, somebody might stop.
Yeah, what are you selling? Nothing? No, I'm going. I'm looking for cheap stuff.
We'll make some coupons and say, here, take these to the yard sales. They're not gonna give you nothing for them, but.
It's like, it's Bill, it's like that website, we're selling nothing.
Yeah, right, right.
No.
All right.
Well, I think these are great ideas, and I think that this will, you know, putting this together, you know, and having that will really help us out to really start to really pin down some stuff. And I also don't want to, you know, rush things together either.
Yeah.
You know, I want to make sure that they're thought up well, you know, like Council Marshall said, you know, we want, you know, things to be attended and I agree that, you know, we take the time to format the informationals and things correctly and do them right and you know, yeah, and then promote them well.
Yep.
You know, at the same time and you know, and the whole emphasis being community. So we'll and Roxanne, thank you so much for bringing that. I mean, that's just awesome idea. So that we'll keep that on the agenda for next month, and we should have a little bit better, I think, ideas coming into next month as well, and we'll have that other event under our belts as well. You know, like I said, the parks, you know, the Parks and Rec, you know, it was great, and Scott Johnson did a great presentation. He really did. And, there were so many things in there that even I didn't even realize.
Oh,
So,
yeah, it's amazing.
the Parks and Rec here does so much. And there's a great staff there and great people there. So I mean, I encourage if people to watch that, and see the video of it, because it's full of informational stuff. Like I said, it was great. So I take that opportunity to thank Scott for doing that, for the community relations and for the town. And then moving to the other item, do we have any other comments on that?
No, ready to move on.
Nope.
Good. All right. So, whoops.
So I'm on item 5. I'd like to volunteer to just reach out to Crystal Whipple again
Okay.
and ask them what they would like to do. And if they don't have any specific ideas, then I'll propose that we have a get together, and what's a good date?
Yeah, that would
And
be,
invite them to come to this meeting, which they've done in the past,
yep.
and just exchange ideas. And since we're now doing in person, maybe we do that Town Green, or maybe on the reservation at one of their facilities.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, but I just want to leave it up to them and say, what do you guys want to
Right.
do? And leave it to them and figure something. So I'll volunteer to reach out to Crystal.
Awesome.
I think the spring is a nice time to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the weather's great. Everybody's in a good mood. It's a new time. It's a
Right.
rebirth and all that. So, yeah, I'll reach out to them. It's hard to schedule them. It may not be late spring. It could be fall, but I'll start the process now and see where that leads us.
Awesome.
Reached out to Mariah Phillips, one of the students who spoke
Yeah,
in June
yeah.
2020. And she is willing to speak with us
Good.
by Zoom. She's in Florida now,
Okay,
but she's willing to do that, so I can try to arrange that
okay.
and then give you the date that she can join.
Awesome. All right. So yeah, so we got some work. Where are we? Item number 6, right? Any other old business to come before the committee tonight?
I have nothing.
Nope.
No. Any new business to come before the committee?
Nope.
Hearing none,
Nope.
I guess I will.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. 7:31.
Beautiful.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Gary. Good meeting.
Good night, all. See you.